On this episode, we review Jock Lindsey's Hangar Bar holiday menu, Enzo's Hideaway for lunch, and the IAAPA Expo 2023. Today is November 21st, 2023, and this is episode 619 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and I'm joined by my very tired wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. If you are planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, it can be very overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating, especially when it comes to dining. But Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. So let's touch base first today. We're finishing out our dining over the past 2 weeks. So we did a lot of it.
Yes, we did.
But first, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the IAAPA Expo 2023 that we went down for the day on Thursday, this past Thursday, or last Thursday, I should say. We love going to IAAPA every year. This is basically the theme park expo. There's lots of announcements. There's a lot going on as far as what is happening in the theme park, entertainment, amusement park industry in general. What can people expect? Because I think anybody who loves theme parks, amusement parks should go to IAAPA for a day. And it's each year in Orlando in November. Tell people what they can expect to see on that expo show floor, and that's just outside of the different panels and other things that you can attend.
Yeah, and we did not attend any, but it is super cool. Everything, like, I think the funniest thing we saw this year was all the socks that so when you go to a jumpy place and you have to pay for the socks, those were there, and Kaylin actually wears them like around the house and with other shoes. She actually likes that grippy stuff on the bottom. It's really neat, and actual literal rides, VR sets that you can, and all of this you can try.
You can experience all these things.
There's Dippin' Dots that they were given samples, and I say samples a tiny little like cup away. There's pretzels, there's food trucks, and I say food trucks, probably maybe one or so. It's neat. We were talking, and Jeremy and he was like, what if we had the plot of land in St. Augustine? Like, how much, if we came here, would it be like to make like an adventure landing type situation? And I'm like, because it was really neat. We went over to Sally Dark Ride, which, everybody should know Logan from that. And he was not there, but I got to meet Drew and the SpongeBob set that was there with the Krusty Krab. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, that they're installing out in Las Vegas.
Well, I think it's really cool because if I was like, I need this at my adventure landing or whatever we would call it, Main Street Magic.
You can
St.
buy
Augustine.
the things.
You could. It's crazy.
Well, here's the best way to explain it. And
I'm probably not doing a good job.
Well, and the reason is because this is sensory overload.
1,000,000%.
In every way possible.
Yes.
And what I think is so cool about this, and if you just love amusement parks, theme parks, arcades, anything, if you love entertainment, this is so cool to go to.
Yeah.
But if you're the type of person as well, like I am, that you're just fascinated by the soup to nuts. Isn't that the phrase?
I have no idea.
Or is it nuts to soup? You turn nuts into soup? You wouldn't turn soup into nuts. Soup to nuts, I think, is the phrase. Anyway, it's basically everything. So the conversation we're having is, like Rhonda was just trying to say, is like, all right, let's just say we had a plot of land in St. Augustine and we wanted to open an amusement park or whatever it may be, right? You can go here and you can see every possible thing that it takes.
Yeah.
From arcade systems and bounce houses to VR systems to food to all the things that you think about first, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are vendors there that are selling the carpet cleaners, the industrial carpet cleaners that you would need.
Right.
They're selling the ticketing systems like Magic Band type
I thought
stuff.
that was cool.
We saw the systems that they we used most recently in Margaritaville.
Correct.
In Orlando, which is a wristband and it's basically your room key for
Mm-hmm.
everything. There are, just uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything
Bubbles.
you can imagine. Yeah, bubble wands. They have all the people that create the bubble wands, the companies that create the popcorn buckets and the souvenir drink glass. It's it is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many square feet it is. I swear it's like 1 million. It takes up the entire north and south concourse of the Orange County Convention Center.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so fun.
And you can buy stuff there. Like, I even joked and said if I was rich, we came across this really cool, what I would suspect at Great Wolf Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
This really cool, like all these different like animals and works of like wood art, basically. And with that being said, there was this beautiful swing, and I think it was called Root Works or something, and it was gorgeous, and it was like a 2-person swing, and it was only $1,800. And I mean, you might go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. For as beautiful as the swing was, the way it was, I want to buy that for my parents and literally put it at their cabin because my mom would absolutely love it. I actually took some of their information because I really wouldn't mind, and I don't know if that was the price there. I don't know if like I could
they have a lot
maybe
of show
save
specials.
and next year
Sometimes they have show
hey.
specials, but
it is really cool because a lot of that you can do.
I mean, like animatronics, like I know we're being awful at explaining what this is because it's so hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
But you should go. You should take your family.
Yeah.
You can go to IAAPA.org. That's IAAPA.org. It is the Global Association for Attractions Industry, and this is the American show in Orlando every November. They do these out in Asia every year, but it is seriously just unbelievable. And that's just the show floor.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's a lot of panels that you can attend. If you go back to some of our previous episodes in November, the past couple years, when I had the chance to sit on the panel with Logan, not sit on the panel, sit and watch the panel. By the way, Logan did host a panel this year.
It does run for a week, Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, because I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we did have media pass for the entire week, but I'm very busy. It's this time of year. 'Tis the season for me. So unfortunately, and I didn't want Jeremy going by himself. So we didn't get there till Thursday.
Yeah.
But
it's so cool.
It really is.
Like, I would really go check it out, get some tickets if you're going to be in the Orlando area, or it's worth making a trip down just for that. There's just so much going on. It's so cool. I'll just go on a quick tangent too. Outside of this, before we get into the food, 'tis the season to be nice to retail workers in addition to cast members. Mm-hmm. We went yesterday, and we went to Lowe's to pick up some stuff to do some projects at home, and we got this little fireplace for our back patio, and got home, started putting it together. One of the pieces was damaged, and Rhonda called Lowe's and was like, hey, can my husband bring back this piece only tomorrow, not the whole thing, because it's a lot, and you'll exchange it. And they're like, yeah. And so I went back today, and it took a while. I was there for like an hour, but every single person I encountered, and I could have been that guy.
You could have.
Having been there for an hour and talking to half a dozen people and waiting for a manager and not getting answers. I could have been that guy. And this is the season where retail workers, restaurant workers, cast members, so many people that are in those industries and the hospitality industries and stuff in general. This is really a hard time of year. They're being taken away from their families during holiday periods. You're going to have people that are working on Thanksgiving. You're going to have people that are working on Christmas, and they're there so that they can make a living, and be nice to them. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be there, and they need to be. Mm-hmm. And every person, I ended up having to talk to a manager, not my choice. I didn't say like, I want to speak to the manager.
Right.
It's just what I needed to get approved. had to go to a manager, and it took a while. And once after the experience we had yesterday, and then my experience today, even though it took a little while, I told him, I was like, just so you know, everybody that we've encountered yesterday and today has been absolutely incredible. And so I just gave back the exact same to them. You know, they were being amazing to me. I was as nice as I could be back to them, and they were all super thankful. So yeah, just one of those times, just calm down. I know there's going to be a lot of frustration coming up as you're shopping, as you're eating out, as things are getting nuts during the holiday season. Take a deep breath and be nice to everyone.
Yes.
All right, let's move back to dining, and we are going to pick up where we left off last episode after CityWorks, after our new dude, Ricky, who is the best, after a little bit of fried cheese curds.
Yes.
And we finally got to move on to Jock Lindsey's Hangar Bar.
Yes.
Now, this is open on Fridays from noon to 11:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, you're going to get it from 11 a.m. basically to 11 p.m. And then Monday through Thursday from 12 to 11 p.m. Let's start before we get into the food again. I keep delaying the food. Let's talk about our bartender, Susie, because we went and sat outside at the bar.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
She was outstanding.
Yeah, she was.
We had some of the best cast members.
We did.
This entire 2 weekends that we've ever had, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. They were in good spirits. Everybody was super just enjoyable. And I think, you know, when you're in good spirits and you're having fun, I think it also attests for them too.
Yeah, it does.
So
yeah, it's like they pick up on that.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun. Caleb will often, and this is what I love about him, he will just pull something out of his butt, just a question that you're just never expecting.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And it's like a game.
Yeah, it
and
is.
It's so fun. And we ended up on one of these things he pulled out of his butt, spending 30 to 45 minutes discussing.
And got Susie
involved. The guy next to Caleb got involved. And he just started, and I can't remember who he started with. Was it Will Ferrell? It might have been Will Ferrell.
I think it was it's almost like Would You Rather, but it was like, if you could only watch one Will Ferrell movie for the rest
of your life, what would you choose?
Yeah, what would you choose? Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, that's a great question. We start bouncing stuff around. And then that just curtailed into us going through 20 to 25 different actors and actresses as we sat there. You know, we're just, all right, one Tom Cruise movie, rest of your life. Steve Carell, Jim Carrey, like everybody we start going through. And then it really becomes a game. Now, does it have to be a game and you have to have a winner? It can still be a game and nobody wins, right? Because it's not like there's a winner.
Yes.
I would like to think that I won, but there's not an action. No, but here's what's neat. No, but here's what's cool that it comes down to. Is that you can start to overlap actors and actresses.
Yeah.
For example, if you said, what is one Will Ferrell movie that you could watch for the rest of your life? It's the only one. And I were to be like, Old School, right?
Okay.
Then I can think in my head, wait, what if Vince Vaughn comes up later? Because I could pick that for my Vince Vaughn movie, and then I get a different one to pick Will Ferrell, and then I still get both of those movies.
Yeah.
So it almost becomes this mind game.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
We had a good time.
As weird as it sounds, that was my favorite part of that entire weekend with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start to talk about Jock Lindsey's Hangar Bar and their holiday menu, which is available from November 9th all the way through December 30th.
Woohoo!
What did you have to drink there?
I was super excited because they have a holiday cherry cocktail, which is Stoli vanilla vodka, Hearing cherry liquor, simple syrup, cranberry juice with edible glitter, and a garnish with the cherry. And of course, being Disney, I got 3, and it looked like a Mickey.
Yeah.
This is $14. It is super cute, super cheery, super pretty, and super holiday and great.
Yeah.
It was just great. It's just, like I said, cheery. I love that it's red, like a reddish color. It does. It just, I don't know. It just makes you feel all, it is refreshing though, instead of where you think like, oh, I'd like to be by a nice cold fire, which is really good because this day was a very warm,
Gorgeous,
very hot day. which I was very glad that I had some Christmas short sleeve shirts. So, so this was really good.
Yeah, you're right, though. A lot of times when you think of holiday drinks, you think of things that are heavier. You think of eggnogs. You think of hot chocolates. You think of things that are normally a lot heavier. And the fact that this was nice and light and refreshing is awesome.
Yes.
So we did not eat the entire holiday food menu, but we were very, very close.
Oh.
We did not do the cranberry meatballs.
Oh.
I think that's the one thing that we missed.
We did.
No, we did not do the cranberry meatballs.
Oh, okay.
But
we did some meatball thing, right?
No, you're thinking of the Here We Come, a croquetting.
Oh, okay.
Which is turkey croquettes with sweet potato puree, bacon cranberry jam, turkey gravy, and herbed gremulata for $12. I believe there were 4 of these. They're about the size of a golf ball.
Yes.
Beautiful presentation.
Yes. I thought they were the meatballs. That's why.
Yeah, right, because it looks like that.
That makes sense.
This is the holidays in a bite.
Yeah.
This is like if you're the type that likes to mix your plate during Thanksgiving and you're cool with like the turkey and the stuffing and the cranberry sauce and the gravy and all this stuff running together and you eat it all up in one bite, that's what this is, rolled into a ball and deep fried.
I mean, it was, I don't like my stuff touching, but I will say it was really good. And I did dip it in. So the turkey gravy is a dip, but everything else was on like together. I did. And it was actually really good. I think because it is the way it was presented. Like I said, I don't like my stuff touching, but this was really good.
Yeah. It's so delicious.
Would you get it again?
I would get it again.
Okay.
My only thing that I wish they would change is that, this is how I talk about crab cakes a lot. A lot of times crab cakes are overworked. So all of the meat and everything in it is very stringy. It's very soft. And that's how this was. I think this would have been cool if it had actual chunks of turkey in it, as opposed to, it was much more like taking maybe a turkey and dumplings, as opposed to chicken and dumplings. It was much more like a filling of turkey and dumplings.
That makes sense.
Where everything was super shredded and super fine. So the texture is a little bit off, but you have a very nice crunchy outside. You have the soft kind of inside. And I thought these were great.
Good. Yeah.
What else?
I enjoyed them.
What else did we enjoy here?
So we also got Jock's famous pigs in a blanket. And this is sausage, puffed pastry, and a cranberry mustard sauce for $12. I'm trying to remember how many there were.
It came in a small skillet.
Yeah.
And they rounded out the entire skillet.
So I'm like, 1, 2,
at least 8.
Yeah.
If not a dozen.
Yeah.
And then there's the sauce in the middle.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I loved that it was a puff pastry instead of like a traditional pigs in a blanket where you get the croissant.
More croissant-y.
This was puffy. Loved it. The sausage was fantastic. And that cranberry mustard sauce, I truly liked. Yeah. It was really good. It made a twist on the mustard sauce, obviously. But, mustard's tart. Cranberry can be tart and sweet. So I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I love these. This is like... This is fancy pigs in a blanket.
It was.
This is pigs in a blanket to another level.
It was. And I will say, because I know you obviously didn't try it without the cranberry mustard sauce because it's mustard, but because they were fancy pigs in a blanket, they were fantastic without it.
Yeah. Well, here's what you get with it is because you get the flakiness of that puff pastry, but the sausage is very juicy. It's one of those where like, you can get a sausage and they can be very dry. And typical pigs in a blanket are. If I eat a regular just pigs in a blanket, 100%. I dip it in ketchup or whatever.
Yep.
These, it's that one of those types where if you took just the sausage, because it's also cut, you know what I mean? So it doesn't have the little nubby ends like your little wieners that you would do in regular pigs in a blanket. So if you were to press on the sausage, juice is going to come out of it.
Okay. Were you pressing on the sausage?
I did not, but I could tell. But it adds that flavor and it adds that, dare I say, moistness. And so I loved these. We were actually at Costco yesterday and they had in the frozen section pigs in a blanket, but they were in a puff pastry. And so I'd be super interested to get those one time.
Yeah, I bet they're good.
And try those. Maybe we'll get those. We have to do a rehearsal dinner at our house here in a couple weeks, maybe that could be one of the appetizers we get. Is get that from Costco.
Okay.
That would be super good. All right, I'm gonna let you talk about the next one, even though I did eat one.
I'm very proud of you. So they had naughty or nice deviled eggs. This was crispy ham, sweet honey glazed for nice, or spicy honey glazed for naughty for $15.
You went nice?
I went
You got nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Because I did not want the spice.
Yeah.
Just because it's deviled eggs and
This is not your normal deviled eggs.
Oh my God.
What are the eggs? What do the egg whites look like?
Well, 2 of them were white, 2 of them were red, and 2 of them were green.
Yeah.
So it did look funny. But of course they're just dyed. But it was pretty and I liked how it went with the naughty or nice. But the crispy ham on top. Holy
I thought
moly.
it was pork belly. Until you just read the actual description.
I thought it was
belly.
pork belly too.
So
But it was amazing, and it was
close to
probably
half an inch
thick for sure on each
Mhm.
deviled egg. So not only was that, and it was a nice sweet honey glaze. So then you had that, you had the egg, yolk, and then the egg itself. The whole bite itself was really, really good. I found the smallest egg yolk for Jeremy and gave it to him because of that honey sweet glazed piece on top. That's what overpowered anything that was going to be a deviled egg like.
Right. Yeah. Get your eyes ready. I don't like deviled eggs. Best deviled egg I've ever had. Get your eyes ready. Roll them back. But I don't like deviled eggs.
Yeah.
So to find one that I do like, it's obviously going to be the best one that I've had.
I mean,
this was
fantastic.
outstanding.
Yeah. I would love to try the spicy. I almost wish they could do
half and half.
Half and half.
I bet they would if you asked.
Because
my guess is the ham's going to be the same,
mm-hmm,
and they're just gonna it's the sauce that they're gonna put it in before they fry it up. So I'm guessing if you ask very nicely, they could do half and half. I don't know if we'll get a chance to make it back there. If anybody does go and you're able to, even whether you're going to order them or not, you're able to inquire, could they do half nice and half naughty? Let us know.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
And back to the pigs, the fancy pigs in a blanket. There was 9.
Yeah. So those were.
Oh no, excuse me, 10.
10 of them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I said 8 to a dozen. So right there in the middle.
Yes.
All right. We're going to move on to what I think was the best that was super fun. Jock Lindsey's, and that is the ham and cheese trees. This is puff pastry, pit ham, cheddar, garlic herb butter, and a sugar plum jam for $15.
But wait, how did it come out?
So these are basically, it is the puff pastry, and it is layered with the ham and the cheese, and it basically makes a tree on a skewer. It's the shape of a tree. It's like, think of like ribboned. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Back and forth.
Yep.
But it tapers off, so it looks like a tree. It's on a skewer. It comes out on a wood board, and the skewer is sitting in there underneath of a glass dome, which they have infused with smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring it out, and it is this big smoky dome, and they set it in front of you. And as they pull the glass dome up, they give it a little bit of a swirl, and that smoke just infuses inside of the ham and the puff pastry, blows into the air. It smells great. These things... This is one of those where you can take something so simple and just absolutely elevate it to a whole other level. Yeah. And the smoke show is awesome.
Yeah.
It infuses a little bit of flavor into the dish.
100%.
But I don't think it's needed, but it's good.
Correct.
Like if they came out and there was no show and there was nothing, they could just maybe like dance a little or something and then set it down. That'd be fine. If there was no smoke, this would still be outstanding. I was scrolling through TikTok like I tend to do, and somebody was making these, not with the smoke portion, but they were making, they took Pillsbury croissants and laid them out and cut them in thin strips, and then basically, layered ham and cheese in them and like made these.
Wow.
And baked them on a sheet. And this was just...
Are you going to do that?
Delicious. We could.
Okay.
Maybe that's another good appetizer for our little rehearsal dinner thing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. What did you think of these?
They were really good. I obviously like the other things a little bit better.
Okay.
because of the smokiness. For me,
Was a bit too much
it
for you?
was a little bit, but it was good.
Totally get
and
that.
I just, I ate the other things, and I was excited for the puff pastry,
Yeah.
pigs in a blanket, and then the deviled eggs. So I was letting y'all eat this. But I took a bite, and it was good. And if we got them, just me and you, I would absolutely eat it again.
Jock Lindsey's is
super cool.
I want to call it a hidden gem.
Yeah,
because it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
We've never been disappointed here. And the fact that they change up their menu throughout the year for different holidays, different events, just in general, they'll change it up. I mean, that charcuterie pretzel is still
well, that
top
was
of the list
funny because
appetizer.
when we were talking about this menu, the holiday menu, I think Caleb was like, pretzel?
Yeah, he's like, we're not getting a pretzel? What's
and
going
then
on?
we're
We
like,
always get
we
always get that with them. I know.
But we didn't because there was so much going on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're like, hey, what is delicious? A Bavarian pretzel. What makes it better? Beer cheese sauce. Okay. What makes it better? And you're like, it can be better? Yeah. Stuff in all the little pretzel holes, meats and cheeses, and it is so good. And like I said before, when we talked about it, I love to take part of that pretzel and open it and stuff some meat and cheese in it and make a little like pretzel bite, little pretzel slider bite. It's so freaking good. All right. We're going to close out. We're going to talk about Enzo's Hideaway.
Yeah. This was fun.
Go ahead and this is what we did for lunch after the IAAPA Expo. We thought we're down here. We're in Orlando. We were driving down for the day. We were driving back. We're like, let's get some content. We got to eat anyway. Talk about what got us to Enzo's Hideaway. Why did we select Enzo's Hideaway in the very end? Because it was not our original plan.
Our original, I think, plan was possibly actually Magic Kingdom, maybe Riding Tron, maybe, doing a couple of things because we really didn't need to be home at a certain time for the kids or anything. Because with all, the kids have friends and driving and all the stuff, it's nice now. And then in less now than 2 months, we really don't have to worry about it because our own daughter will be. But anyways, besides that, I said to Jeremy, let's have a lunch date. We know we're coming home. Let's just go and have something at Disney. So new menu was on Tony's Town Square. So we were going to go there. Well, today is the first day in 7 days that we have seen the sun. And when I say that, unfortunately, that was meaning for Disney too. And everybody kept telling me when I was working Wednesday, Thursday's supposed to be the worst day. Yeah. Thursday's supposed to be the worst day.
They weren't kidding.
And they weren't kidding. They were completely 100% right. It was awful driving down to Disney. I was very stressed.
It was even
rained.
worse driving back.
It was worse driving home. We saw, unfortunately, 2 major accidents that I just kind of prayed and hoped that those people were fine. So as this is, and I'm not prepared for anything. I have no rain jackets. Yeah. I have tennis shoes on. Then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I do have flip-flops in the back of my truck. So then we kind of start going, oh, where else can we go? What about all right, getting into Magic Kingdom
with it pouring rain
correct.
Is going to be a giant nightmare.
And we would have been drenched.
Yeah, going to Tony's.
So then we're like, what about Epcot? What about Hollywood Studios? We just were at Springs because we were just talking about, Jock Lindsey's and everything. So and City Works, and I felt like I kind of don't want to go there, but we kind of started the whole all right, we've done good. We've been eating well. And then we're going to walk this whole, I think you were shocked to see, I think we walked 4 miles.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you, right. And I don't know why you were, but it was funny because I think, like he said, sensory overload, you're not thinking that you're walking as much as you are, which we did. So I'm thinking, I'm going to be down for some actual yummy Italian after walking all this. So then we start looking at all the Italian places across property and came down to it. There was 3
well, because we were telling people beforehand, hey, we're gonna go try the new menu at Tony's, and we're not liars. We don't intend to be. We wanted to go to Tony's and try the new menu items.
100%.
But it was just going to be, it was going to be miserable.
It was.
So we're like, all right, let's still look at an Italian. You know, that's a big question. Again, one of the questions we get a lot. Where's the best pizza? Where's the best burger? Where's the best steak? Where's the best Italian?
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying it was going to be Tony's, but
with the new menu, we thought,
oh yeah, let's
they
check
could
it out.
step it up.
And we've been okay with Tony's.
Absolutely.
You know? We've talked about that before. So I was like, all right, we got 3 Italian spots really at Springs.
And then you can park in a garage.
Yeah, we can park in a garage.
So then we're not getting wet
Yep.
in the garage.
Yeah.
Then we just have to get to the wherever we were going from the garage. So
Level 3,
go
row
ahead.
5.
Yep.
Well, almost every time we park there, I joked with Rhonda that I'm going to get a tattoo that says Level 3, row 5 because we'll always remember where we're parked.
Yep.
L3R5. I might get that, honestly.
Oh, Lord.
So anyway, we came down really to 3 places we've never dined at. We've never sat and had a meal at.
Mm-hmm.
Terralina, Crafted Italian, which we've never even been to at all.
Mm-hmm.
Marie and Enzo's, which we've never been to at all. And Enzo's Hideaway, which we've been to. We've sat at the bar,
Right.
and I believe maybe one time we got an appetizer. Right?
I thought so, but now after getting ahead of ourselves after our appetizer, I'm like, maybe we
I don't know that we ever have.
Yeah.
So it came down to those 3, and we're like, all right, let's put it to vote. We gave about 2 hours in the Main Street Magic community on Facebook. You can go out and join. We put it to vote on those 3, and Enzo's Hideaway won.
Yep.
So went on, real easy to get a reservation. You know, the rain was really driving people to just stay in their resorts or do things around, you know, their own property. So reservations were plentiful. Went ahead and grabbed a reservation and went and checked into Enzo's Hideaway.
But come to find out, when we checked in, we
There
didn't
was not
really
a need
need
for
a
a
reservation. Literally, when she was like, I said 2, and then Jeremy said, we have a reservation. I was like, oh, yeah. And I said all that. She's like, okay, well, booth or a table. And she was like, and you have pretty much the entire restaurant to yourself.
She wasn't kidding.
And she wasn't.
The bar was full except for
It
maybe
was.
2 seats, and there's maybe a
Correct.
dozen. And then I think during our entire dining time, there was a family next to us when we arrived, and
They
I believe one other group showed up maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really
it
was. So-
very bare, which was nice.
Yeah, it really was. And so the full name is Enzo's Hideaway Tunnel Bar.
Yes.
What is this atmosphere like?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, you have lunch that runs from 11:30 a.m. to 3:25 p.m. and then dinner starts at 3:30 p.m. and it runs till 10 p.m.
It's the early bird special, 3:30.
That's right.
And they are different menus.
Oh.
They are different menus. There is a very lunch-specific menu, which is more heavy on handhelds like paninis and things like that. But it still has pastas and all, which we ordered and we'll talk about. Those are not as readily available on the dinner menu, so they are separate menus. I know a lot of times it's funny. It's just the way Disney does and the way they turn over cast members and staff and whatever, is they'll say something like, lunch is this time to this time, dinner's this time to this time, and it's the exact same menu.
Right.
This does change up a bit.
Nice.
Just noted,
Yeah.
when you're looking at what you want to book, you may want to take a look at the menu ahead of time.
Yeah. So, like Jeremy said, that was asking about the atmosphere. It's super cool when you literally, you know, there's signs pointing like Enzo's Hideaway this way, and you come around and it's really cool. You have this open, you know, door that says it and point down, and you kind of just go down in this tunnel, and like it's like Jeremy said, like a speakeasy when he was talking to me.
Italian speakeasy.
It was super cool. And you do literally walk through like this little tunnel and then into this beautiful and just like a cellar. And it was super cool because it was raining, and Gina was, and if you're listening, hi Gina. But she was our waitress and she was amazing. And it was so cool because it was raining. Like, she's like, I'll never know. And I mean, that's how I feel at work sometimes because I'm inside and I have no walls or no windows or anything. But it's so pretty in here and it's so neat. And it is that, like, it's on a rainy day and you're just, you know, cuddled up in this, like,
in our little booth.
Speakeasy, like, awesome. And there was no really live music or anything, like a speakeasy, but still it was super cool.
Yeah, it's
super cool.
I would almost say it reminds me of Tutti Gusto's Big Brother or Big Sister. You know what I mean? It's that same feel. It feels like you're in the basement. You're in the cellar.
Yeah.
There's lots of brick.
Yeah.
There's lots of concrete, but in a very comfortable way.
And almost
way
elegant in here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very.
Mhm.
And it's just, it's beautiful. There's huge fridges with glass windows that are showcasing a lot of the meats because they have this giant crazy charcuterie for 2 people.
Mhm.
And you're seeing the meats like drying out, and like it just is such a cool atmosphere. And so I don't forget to say it later. And of course, we'll talk about the food. Rhonda mentioned Gina, our server, who was just unbelievable. One of the best we've had. This is one of those experiences for us while we're here. I think from the moment we stepped foot inside to the moment we stepped out was perfection.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you could change. From the moment we were greeted by the host or the hostess.
Just the loud lady that was at the bar.
Well, there was a lady at the bar that wanted to make sure everybody knew she was at the bar. Like there's just those people that are just like, I'm going to say things and I want to make sure everybody hears them, whether they're part of my party or not. But no, it was just beginning to end. This was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
So let's get into, we each thought we'd have a little drink. We're just going to have one.
Yeah.
We're going to sit here and dine on some carbs.
Yep.
We're going to spend some time and relax.
Mhm.
You know, this wasn't like a let's get some food and get out of here. It was like, let's spend some time and enjoy each other and the ambiance and everything.
Mhm.
What drink did you go with?
So they have a limoncello gimlet, which is Hendrick's Gin, Carvella Limoncello, simple syrup, thyme for $18. So I'm not a big gin person, so I did ask her if she could go ahead and switch it to vodka, and she was like, "Sure. What vodka do you like?" And this was fantastic. It was great. It was so refreshing. I like the thyme in it. Like it is totally like almost to me a lemon drop, probably.
Yeah.
Almost martini type, because you know you've got the gin and it almost like a martini type anyways, but I don't know, the thyme, I might start putting thyme in my lemon drops. I don't know, it was just super good. It just was really refreshing, and so I wanted, even though we started with that, I drank it slow enough to actually like have it with my dinner. And then of course, you know, drinking water and all in between. But yeah, they also had a more new to them because I think of the machine, but an espresso martini. And I was going to get that, but that limoncello, I was just thinking, God, that'll be so good with my dinner. Yeah. Whereas an espresso, and she did come back and ask if I wanted it for dessert. And I'm like, no, because we're going to go home and this is it. So
yeah. It was super really delicious and refreshing.
So what'd you have?
I went with their hazelnut old fashioned. This is Knob Creek Frangelico, orange and Luxardo cherries for $17. I like my old fashions on the sweeter side, and that Frangelico made it on the sweeter side.
Perfect.
And I really enjoyed this a lot.
Good.
Frangelico, oh man, I have to remember. We used to do, when I was much younger, chocolate cake shots.
Oh yeah, you've told me about these.
And it was I'm trying to remember what it was.
You've made me taste it. And I'm
it
like,
was It's the weirdest thing. It was Frangelico. If Christina's listening right now, she will remember chocolate cake shots from New Jersey at the bar at Holiday Inn, because we did them there I think that was when we actually went. Gosh, I'm gonna have to message her after this. I think it's when we went to see Creed, but Mark, their guitarist's mother, had passed away the night before, and they ended up canceling the concert last minute. But a bunch of us collected from all up in the Northeast coast, and we still got together and met. No, maybe it was different. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Christina and
I'll do a Creed podcast. That's your Creed podcast. I just started to say.
No, it was a different one, because I remember the Holiday Inn. Anyway, so it was like Frangelico, and I think it was vodka or something, and you took a shot, and then you took a bite of a sugared lemon, and somehow the combination of flavors made it taste like chocolate cake.
I didn't think so.
It was amazing. So anyway, I really liked this old fashioned a lot. It was good. I liked that sweetness to it. Absolutely loved it. So there are things that we get when we go places. If it is on the menu, right?
Yes, but not only that. She asked if we've been here. Let's start out with that. She's asked if we've been here. We said no. Yes. We sat at the bar. We only had drinks, but we're here for dinner. So she starts rattling off what's really like she thought is good, which is under appetizers, and then what she thought was good under your entrees. Thank you. And then then when she nailed it with everything.
Yeah. I'll say if you go to Enzo's Hideaway and Gina is your server, get whatever she recommends.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Because she is spot on.
So then, of course, I was like, all right, you've done everything else great. So what's for dessert? So anyways, but speaking of that, going back to that, this is what she recommended, but this is something that Jeremy and I usually always get. But she did talk about the calamari, which is hot cherry peppers, spicy marinara, and a garlic aioli for $16. But she described them as these are all rings, and these are not just your skinny little rings. These are your nice, thicker rings. And I was like, oh, okay. So we got them. And the hot cherry peppers, was fantastic. I loved them.
They're also breaded and fried with the calamari.
Fantastic. This is lightly breaded calamari, but it was probably about an inch, almost every ring thick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I got one that I think was a little thicker. So I would say about a half inch to an inch thick on all of them. I think I got one that was a good solid inch thick. And I was chewing it. And first of all, it was a little hot. And then once, because it was so big, I think my brain started and I was like, ew, this is weird and squishy. And I'm like, I can't, I'm done. So I was like, I don't want any more. They were fantastic.
So I could eat more.
And you could. But this is funny because when we were talking about it, Jeremy was like, it's not like you can say, oh, well, this is compared to this calamari over here. It's so different because they're thicker. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. If I went somewhere else, they're like, oh, we've got these amazing thicker ringed. I think I'd be like, I'm okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
I would.
I absolutely loved them.
Yeah, I know you did.
I did.
And I'm happy you did.
They were so lightly breaded. They were cooked to perfection. They have that little bit of, I would almost say an al dente type bite to them. I thought they were so great. The marinara was so good. And yeah, what I was saying to Rhonda is, I'm not going to say they're the best calamari I've ever had. Don't worry, guys. But you can't compare this calamari to other calamari on property because they're so different. And I liken it to the fact that everybody goes, have you had the Steakhouse 71 burger? Yes, I have. Is it the best burger on property? Of its kind? Yes. Of burgers? No. But you can't compare that smash burger to other burgers because they're so differently prepared. And that's the way this calamari was. So
is this the best big ring calamari you've had on property?
Yeah. It's the only one I've had on property.
Yeah.
Everywhere else has the much smaller rings. A lot of times they will have the tentacles, which we don't particularly
like the
care
tentacles
for.
Either. So I now have realized I do not like the tentacles.
I don't think you like calamari.
Or
Rhonda.
big rings.
Yeah,
I do, but I like it smaller.
It was really, was it Tutto Italia? I think was really good. Some of my favorite calamari ever is here in St. Augustine. It's been a long time at the Conch House, where they do it with banana peppers, and Parmesan cheese and a marinara, and those are the much smaller, not quite as thick. Those I would say are the best calamari I've ever had.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I love this. In fact, we got down to the end. There were 3 left, and I was like, well, I'll just eat one more. There were 2 left, and I was like, well, let's just throw it in the leftovers that Rhonda had. And I came home and I stuck them in the air fryer. And they were still great.
You did.
I just love that light breading. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, but was it really crispy? I think you said it.
The breading was very crispy, but the problem with something like seafood is you really can't reheat it. Seafood needs to be cooked to that perfect temperature the first time.
Oh, okay.
And then when you recook it or reheat it up, it just overcooks it immediately. Shrimp, lobster, crab, calamari. But it was still delicious. The flavors were there. It was just overcooked. Let's talk about the 2 pasta items that we got.
Yep.
because of Gina's recommendation.
Now, I don't remember. Did she recommend
Did it both?
what
She talked about
okay.
both. Yeah.
So
specifically. So talk about yours first.
Yes. So she talked about the linguine al burrata. And it is roasted mushrooms, baby spinach, burrata, white wine, mushroom burrata, and how do you say
Pecorino.
Pecorino.
It's cheese.
Sorry.
Very similar to a Parmesan.
For $23. Then she did ask me if I wanted to add shrimp or chicken.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up kind of talking me into shrimp. It came with...
Yeah, because she recommended, she goes, it's really good with like the white wine sauce.
Right.
The shrimp is. And we're like, that sounds perfect, Gina. Yeah. Yes. We will add the shrimp.
How much did you remember?
I don't remember what the add-on was. I want to say chicken was like 12. So I bet shrimp was closer to 16 or 18.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's an expensive dish.
It is.
It's a very expensive dish.
It was because there was only 3 shrimp.
Yeah.
But they were very large shrimp that by the time I cut them and had a bite, I was able to cut the one shrimp 3 to almost 4 times. Yeah. And then once I cut all 3 of them up, it was fantastic. But this was outstanding. It is house-made linguine pasta, which is, first of all, it's fantastic. Second of all, the roasted mushrooms, the baby spinach, and that burrata, like, holy crap. It was just, and the white wine sauce. This whole thing was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I did not eat it all because I was riding home, but I did take it home, and then I did eat it later that night and warmed it back up, and it was really good. Like you said, warming it right back up. Like you said, the shrimp was a little tougher, but it was still so good. Yeah. So good.
I loved it. I had a bite.
Yep.
And absolutely outstanding. I told Rhonda in the comparison between our dishes, when I talk about mine, even though it was rainy outside and we're in this cellar, and Rhonda's food and drink was amazing, but to me, I felt like you went a route of, because they do have some outdoor seating, I felt like you went the route of a summer day, not too hot, not too humid, which is hard in Florida, but maybe a spring day or a fall day, sitting outside.
You sound like Miss Congeniality. What's your perfect date?
What's your perfect date? Wasn't it April 9th? Is it April 9th?
What is the date? The 4th.
Oh, maybe.
It's April. And then she's like, it's a spring. And she's saying all this stuff. And other people that probably know it more than I do is literally saying it now. But go ahead. You just remind me of that.
You picked the perfect summer meal.
Yeah.
Sitting outside, even though it was perfect inside. I went after my old fashioned, which to me is a dark and dreary outside. It's a dark liquor drink. You're sitting in a cellar. I went with the rigatoni al ragu bolognese, which is house-made pancetta pasta, veal, pork, and beef ragu, ricotta, extra virgin olive oil, and Parmigiano cheese for $23. Very hearty, very heavy.
Those reminded
me rustic.
The rigatoni reminded me
of the calamari size. Yeah,
they're so big.
Store-bought rigatoni, when you go, they're maybe about 2 inches long. And it's a tube, and they're maybe a half-inch thick. Maybe. These were about an inch long and 3/4 to an inch like wide almost. These big, which is great because it soaks up the sauce inside of that. And this was like, to me, the best way to explain this is, and we're not Italian. We didn't grow up like around I didn't have like Italian friends that like, our wonderful friends across the street, Russ, about once a month he has us over and he handcrafts pretty much everything Italian from scratch that he learned from like his grandma, and just, and they do the gravy, the sauce, the marinara and all, and they, and he makes manigot from scratch and everything. And
so good.
To me, this embodied like an Italian grandmother's just dish. Yeah. Like if you were to look up bowl of Italian in the dictionary, it'd be a photo of this one.
Okay.
The ragu with the veal, the beef, the pork, super flavorful. It has this wonderful saltiness to it. The rigatoni is cooked to a perfect al dente. It is a dish that I got halfway through and was like, I don't need to eat anymore, so I ate the rest. I finished my bowl. I absolutely just, I loved it.
Yeah. It was good. I took a bite and it was very good. But again, it was that hearty, like that. It reminded me of like rainy and
Comfort.
comfort, but I also wanted something lighter because we were going to ride in a car for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I felt like the linguine and the white wine and the...
Oh, no, you picked right for that. I just went all in. And I'm like, I am just getting something that I could like sleep in. Like this, I really enjoyed it. And, you know, this will come up now. And I want to get to Terralina, and I want to do, you know, we've done Tutto Italia, we've done Tutto Gusto, we've done Trattoria al Forno, we've done Tony's Town Square. We need to get to Maria and Enzo's. We need to get Terralina Crafted Italian. We can go ahead and add that. We've done Via Napoli. We can add this to the list of things that we've done. I would put this on a level of Trattoria al Forno, Via Napoli, and Tutto Italia. To me, are much more Olive Garden, which is fine. Yeah. They're good. They're fine. This to me is much more that handcrafted, your you know, Italian grandmas in the kitchen on Sunday for 8 hours, cooking everything from scratch. Yeah. I really enjoyed this. I feel it's pricey.
It is. Yeah.
But I feel a lot better paying the price at somewhere like here or Trattoria al Forno than I do, which is not that much cheaper, at a Tony's Town Square, a Tutto Italia, or a Via Napoli. And if you because of the fact that, you know, those are all coming, for the most part, especially a Tony's Town Square, they're coming out of cans, they're coming out of box pastas, they're coming out of jars, and that's fine. They can put together a good meal with that. We kind of mentioned this last episode. I feel better paying $23 for a dish of handcrafted amazing pasta here than I do spending $18 at a Tony's Town Square for something that, you know, I could whip up at home for $4. And Italian in general is not expensive. Pasta is eggs and flour. That's it. You know, and eggs have come back down in price, so it's not quite as much of a luxury anymore. Right. Buy a chicken. They're free from then on. You know, but the sauce, everything, there's so much attention to detail in handcrafting these that I'm okay with the fact that it's expensive. I mean, this was an expensive lunch.
But if you are a pass holder, you do get, I think it was 15% off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did get to save quite a bit, obviously not on the alcohol, but yeah, with everything, with dessert and everything that we got, yes, it was over $100.
Yeah. So talk about dessert, and then we can wrap up. And again, this was one, like, we had a full conversation about what dessert we should get with Dina.
It was super cool.
And it was great that, like, you know, first of all, you could tell she's Italian because she pronounced every word to perfection.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if she is listening, she's just like, oh, you guys are butchering these things.
I know, sorry.
And she was just perfection. And it's just that authenticity that's amazing.
Oh, 100%.
But she mentioned, like, the cannolis. Their cannolis, she goes, well, there are 4 smaller cannolis. There's a pistachio, I think a chocolate, and 2 standard.
Which sounded good because I love pistachio. But and then we were talking about another one,
but
too,
what I loved about her was, back to the cannolis, is she goes, they're good. They're really good. But I love just one, you know, big cannoli with all that filling. And you're like, okay, all right. What's next? You know, and like, that's where we had the conversation.
Yeah,
in the end, cool. The overall recommendation from her was the tiramisu.
Well, and because we were like doing the rural Italy stuff, like when we got the pasta and everything. And so we're like, let's do the tiramisu, which is layered lady fingers, mascarpone cream, coffee, and cocoa powder for $12. And this is a good big squared piece.
It's a nice size. And about this 5 by 4 inches, 4 by 4 inches, something like that.
And this was fantastic. The creaminess, the lightness of the lady fingers. It is all soft, so there is no crispy or there is no like crunch. But I think this was perfect.
I did too.
I did not want anything crispy or crunchy in this. It was absolutely fantastic. Such a true, real one.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I've made them before too.
Oh yeah. And it's a process.
It is.
I mean, there's a lot. You got to soak the lady fingers in the espresso, and you've got to layer everything.
But this was super good.
It was so good.
Yep.
I just, you know, we didn't really know what to expect coming in here. We've really enjoyed sitting and having drinks and handcrafted cocktails. We've always loved it. Just was never a place that we dined at, and I was really glad that this one came up as the choice for us because I really, really liked it. You know, this for me would be this and Trattoria would be my go-to Italian spots that we've dined at so far.
And now, because we had such a great experience, we have said that we would love to go back, sit down at the bar, and either maybe get some more appetizers
Yeah.
that we didn't get because they did have a prosciutto melon, which we love. We love, and I would love to like try that.
You
We've
remember,
made it
you
at
remember
home
we first
too.
had that
That was
prosciutto melon?
where
Dan and Lauren's wedding.
I started to say your weirdo brain.
Yeah, Dan and Lauren's wedding. I don't know how long they've been married now. Probably a decade or more. I'm trying to think of the age of their kids. Friends of ours here in the Jacksonville area, and it was at a boat club. Remember, out on the water, and I remember walking up and I was like, "Is that cantaloupe like melon wrapped in prosciutto? What the heck, man?"
Oh my
God! And I took a bite and I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing!"
And then from then on,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I remember the pizza we had, prosciutto and melon pizza,
Yep.
and like, I mean, it's just, it was. So
And then I've made it as
you've made it
appetizers. I've just bought
100
chunks
times,
of melon and prosciutto and wrap it up,
So
stick a
good.
toothpick in
Yep.
it. It's unbelievable.
It really is. The
I love it,
saltiness of the prosciutto and then the sweetness of the cantaloupe melon. It's just
so freaking good.
It is. But and then they have paninis, like Jeremy was saying, for lunch.
Yeah.
So that's something we would go and do again.
With their house-made meatballs and marinara on a panini, and it comes with a side house salad.
Okay.
Like, sounds super good.
And we could totally split that.
Yeah, we could. And then on the way out, actually, I said to Ron, I was like, "Do you want to see if we can go get like a whole pizza from Pizza Ponte and take it home for dinner?" And if we had not dropped as much as we did on lunch, I think we would have. I think we literally would have taken that and brought it home.
Probably.
And I probably would have eaten some in the car on the way back, even though I was full. But it was this was outstanding. So you would recommend Enzo's Hideaway
100%.
as a good dining spot? Yeah.
100%.
It was amazing. And this is one of those two where like this could be the most perfect date night, and this could also be the most perfect communal big group of friends, sitting around and everybody orders something and everybody's trying each other's dishes and their pasta and get the big charcuterie board and like I really loved it. It was an awesome day. Considering
rain.
And we put in
like,
4.5, almost 5 hours driving round trip for 4 hours, pretty much 5 hours in Orlando. But the trade-off was definitely well worth it.
Yep,
so
it was.
It was delicious.
It was.
All right, I think that is it for food for now. But don't worry, more food will be coming up, and we will touch base. Speaking of Italian, we booked Vivo Italian at City Walk for our Thanksgiving meal.
We did.
And we will be heading back to Cowfish with Tina and Rob and family. They're going to come down for spend some time with us while we're at Universal for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and speaking of that, let's be honest. Thanksgiving for us is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be across the street. All of our family is out of town, and we are going to be with our friends across the street that we consider family. That is going to be our Thanksgiving. And then when we go for our family, I mean, it is not going to be Thanksgiving. It is going to be Christmas because we are going to be...
We're going to be wearing Christmas stuff.
At
Universal Christmas started yesterday
started.
when we're recording.
So the girls, will do all that. We are taking them to Epcot
Yay.
for the start of Festival of the Holidays.
And they
for
were
one.
both
They were both
genuinely
very
excited when we told them we were going to take them to Epcot.
Jeremy's got to get our virtual queue, and we might do a lightning lane.
I asked Lacey today when I picked her up from her dance photos. I said, "Do you want to do Cosmic Rewind twice?" And she said, "I want to do it as many times as we can."
Aww.
Yeah. So I was like, "All right." I said, "I'll try and get the virtual queue in the morning.
Ooh, Lord,
and then
please
we'll
let
buy a
us.
lightning lane, and we can do it 2 times for sure."
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hopefully.
they were. It was neat to see how excited they were, and even
They were.
We had Lacey's friend with us on the way there, and her and I were talking a little bit about it, and she was just saying how she's like genuinely excited to go and do Cosmic Rewind. She wants to do Ratatouille.
Okay.
She wants to do Test Track. She wants to do the Cookie Stroll.
Yeah.
Like she was excited.
That's awesome.
And then it was funny because Mac was like, "I'm so confused. Like, there's like all these different places in Disney World. Are they all Disney World? Like how? Like there's Epcot. What else is there?" It was funny. But,
that's awesome.
And then even Kaylin, we told her, she was like when she's excited, she just goes, "Yay!" Like, that's her excitement.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yes.
And it's genuine.
Yes.
And that's what she said when we told her we were taking her to Epcot.
And then I said, you
Friday.
can get your, because she hasn't had her teriyaki chicken from
Katsura Grill.
Katsura Grill. And we said, you can have that. And she was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And so both of them were genuinely excited. I'm genuinely excited because at first we were going to do that to go work. And Lacey was like, what are we doing on Black Friday? Can we go shopping to the outlets? And then I said, well, honey, we have to work. She's like, what are we going to do? Just sit in the hotel? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm thinking,
when you got home that night.
Well, that's what she usually likes to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. And then I was like, we'll talk. And I'm thinking, maybe we won't go to Epcot.
Well, and to be fair and to be fully transparent, you know, it's $371 for a 1-day Florida resident ticket for the two girls, right? $371. That's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And we were not going to do it after we looked up the price. My grandmother passed away in the beginning of September. And being the amazing human being that she was, she had.
She was 98, guys. So
she was 98.
Sad,
she lived an incredible life up until literally like her last 2 days. I mean, really.
Probably, I would say 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe. But still, wonderful life, was an absolutely incredible human being. Yep. Funny, was on Facebook up until she couldn't see anymore. Like, I mean, I had a 90-year-old grandma responding on Facebook posts and usually funny things. Like, she was just incredible. And she took care of her 3 grandkids. So there was just a very, very small like life insurance policy thing. But when that came in, I was like, my grandma and my aunt, one of the things that they used to always do is I would post out to Facebook about our trips and all, and they would always like it, and they would usually respond something with like you guys live such a neat life. Like, this is really cool. And so I know she would love to know that one of the things that I was doing was taking the girls to Epcot. So that's what I told Rhonda. I was like, I got the check. I would like to take the girls to Epcot. And I was like, let's do it.
Yep.
So
it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
So we'll bring you all that
stuff. We're going to have a lot coming from Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Festival of the Holidays. We're going to do as much as we can there. We'll have a little bit of help because Lucy and Kayla will be there, which will be super cool.
Woo!
So we'll get to meet up with them. They haven't been in the parks with the girls in 3 years or something. So that'll be super fun. So make sure you get all that information. You follow us on social media, Main ST Magic, on all the social channels. You can check out Wonderland Crew, our Patreon group at wonderlandcrew.com. You can hit that subscribe button so you get all of this every Tuesday and Friday. And finally, we'd be super thankful if you would please leave us a rating and review.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.